Hello. This video is here to talk about the future of the United States and what exactly will happen 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now due to this election. And I think that the first thing that needs to be said is that congratulations, Joe Biden. I do believe that Joe Biden has won the election, and this is why I'm making the video at 7:27 a.m. on November 4th, 2020. But I will say that we need to at least clear up a few things before we talk about what the future has in store for America. The first thing that needs to be talked about is Arizona going blue, and I think a congratulations is in order for the DNC and the fact that they got around 100K votes ahead of the Republicans, and I think that that's pretty impressive. I was wrong in the sense that the transplants and Mexican immigrants would not flip Arizona. But again, I think that the election overall was pretty close. I think you're going to see Joe Biden eke out at around 285, maybe 300. Overall, when we look at the Rust Belt, I think these are the states that Joe Biden will win by. I don't think he will lose North Carolina. He may not even lose Georgia. So let's just assume that he wins both of those. The only states that remain for Trump to win are Pennsylvania and Michigan. Now, unfortunately, again, Wisconsin has flipped. Now, in my original video, I stated that he would only need one of three: Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania. But Arizona has went to Joe Biden. So, in this effect, he now unfortunately needs to win two of those states, on top of holding Georgia and North Carolina, which again, I think he will probably hold. Yeah, I could be wrong, but overall, let's just play the hypothetical. The point here is that with Joe Biden eking away at the Michigan ballots that Trump has from Election Day, the probable result will be Joe Biden from mail in voting. Now, is there a sense of fraud or a sense of stealing the election? I'm not going to comment on that. I don't think that that's my place because I wouldn't know. Um, this being said, Joe Biden will win, fraud or not, Michigan and Pennsylvania, both by around 100K or lower votes. So it will actually be very close from these two states in the 5-digit, 4-digit ratio. And now Pennsylvania, I think he'll win by 100K or higher for Joe Biden. But with all this being said, when you look at the electorate, it hasn't been that big of a race difference. Now, when you saw the polls that were leading up to this election, some of these statistics you saw out there were huge gaps of error, and we can recognize that the pollsters, again, were quite off. Now, I'm not saying to dissolve your faith of the pollsters and the polls, but there is an understanding that they were wrong in 2016, very much so. And they are, again, very wrong. If you look at some of these states, they were wrong by the double digits, and that's something that cannot be ignored. When you look at this, when you see what they're doing, I think that a lot of this has to come down to a bias. Now, this doesn't mean that they're maliciously attempting a bias. No, that's just not how it is. But I think that if you see them get complacent in the regions that they are polling, if you see them get complacent in fudging the numbers even subconsciously or unconsciously in favor of the party that they care about, when pollsters and pollers do tend to lean more left, that's a fact. It is safe to say that you should probably at least attempt to really dig into the data of the polls and at least attempt to see where they're coming from and who they have given and got the data from. With this out of the way, I think that we can wrap up the U.S. 2020 presidential election. Joe Biden ran a very good race, relatively speaking, and Trump ran a very good race, relatively speaking. I think the biggest thing that, again, will come back to bite Trump in the butt will be the coronavirus and the way he handled it. Now, it's not to say that he wasn't, worthless. It is to say that he probably could have done a bit more. But of course, hindsight is 2020, and I did get the prediction wrong. However, I will say it's not going to be a very large margin. And although he'll win the popular vote and it will be an impressive popular vote turnout, Joe Biden did not win as many electoral as these polls had him going. Joe Biden will eke out with holding one or two states over Trump, and that will be it, in my opinion. Now, I could be wrong again, but the way things are going, regardless, it will be close electorally, relatively speaking. And I think that when we look at the numbers, some of these states are within margins of thousands, single four-digit votes, or single four-digit numbers. And to say that it's going to be a landslide is a bit obtuse. With all this being said, however, I'd like to talk about the future of America and specifically go into a bit more of a rationalization to what was good and bad of who would have won the 2020 election and what will come from it, really, now, considering that the outcome that I thought would happen has changed. So I'll make a new video for that, and thank you for listening.